So let's start with Star Wars. Let's start with Star
Okay,
Wars
okay,
because
okay.
for an in-depth conversation, I will have to call on the ones that know the Bible, not only of the dark side but of the light too. And you are a familiar person, but when it comes to in-depth conversation, I gotta call the Demi, and I need to summon the Ham.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. You're
Those
right.
those two individuals I can sit and have deep conversations with.
Mm-hmm.
In particular, because I study more of the Sith more than anything. And if people know me, I don't care for the Skywalkers anymore. My man's pulling out his
You know,
custom design
we
saber.
gotta get ready. It's so I love it. It's so sexy. It's
Ooh,
so
it's
sexy. It's
delicious.
yes, it is. You know, go
That's
ahead.
what I'm talking about. So,
Let's go ahead and talk
ooh,
some Star Wars. You know what I'm
um,
saying?
he is not of the dark side. He is of the shade side, and his leader is Prince. Exactly. So with
You
that,
know what I'm saying?
so the Obi Wan series, man, concluded this week with the season finale. Basically Obi Wan and Darth Vader having it out, having it
Yeah, man.
out.
It was something special to see, man. It
Absolutely.
was absolutely something special to see. Now, I mean, of course, as we're gonna do like kind of an overview on our thoughts for the entire 6 episode series.
Absolutely.
So, with that being in mind, spoiler alert is active. Okay. Um. So, all in all, what are your thoughts? Like, did you like it? Did you love it? Are you obsessed? Do you need more, or are you good with what you got?
Okay. So overall, I give it absolutely. Thank you. So overall, I give it. I'm satisfied. I don't need more. I don't need anything about the Vader. I mean, the Skywalker trilogy. I mean, storyline anymore. I appreciate what was the in between of what's going on. That was good. I'm perfect for what it is. I do not need another season of Obi Wan. That is concluded. That is good because after this, we already know what happens. Vader kills Obi Wan. Then you have Luke. Then you have that storyline of the first of the not the first three, but the second three movies.
Yeah.
That's good. I'm perfect with that. If anything, Mandalorian is the one that needs more season. That's the one that needs the sauce because the Mandalorians is the race of people that's like, I'm not of Jedi, I'm not of Sith, I am of hands, and I'm here
Yeah.
to give you those.
And and just because you said that you're tired of the Skywalkers, something that's really exciting. I don't know if you saw the headlines, but Taika Waititi, guy who's been running around MCU doing the Guardians of the Galaxy. He did Thor Ragnarok. He's actually in charge of the next Star Wars show, or not show, but movie. And he's come out and said that this is a movie that will expand the universe and will have absolutely no ties to the Skywalker family.
That is
Um,
beautiful.
yeah, so that's pretty exciting. Um, so we're supposed to get that, I think, within the next year or two. I don't
Okay.
know exactly how far he is in development, but
Okay.
it's coming. But I gotta say, to Blerd Approved Gaming, I don't know. I don't necessarily agree with everything else was sleep inducing. I thought that the first episode was interesting, but it was a little boring. Um, it was kind of interesting to see, especially where the Jedi Order had gone in the 5 years since Order 66, and and how they kind of struggled because though the movies kind of get into it, the movies really don't get into it. And with Star Wars lore right now being so choppy since Disney came in and said, all right, well, nothing right now is canon except for the movies and what I think the Jedi Fallen Order game like are the only things right now that are canon. They've taken all like a bunch of the comics out of the continuity. They've taken out a bunch of the novels and stuff, and those are just like considered as fan fiction now and stuff. So it's kind of nice to see that we're kind of revisiting a time that we can see that these Jedis are still adjusting to this new lifestyle of having to hide out, having all this jank stuff to do, and blah blah blah. Um, But other than that, man, like once I got to episode 2, I was absolutely tuned in. Everything about the show, the action set pieces, I thought the characters were really interesting. The twist to the third sister was pretty cool, I thought. Um I was overall impressed with the show. But like episodes 3, 5, and 6, man, were, in my opinion, like the biggest standouts of the show. And that may have had a lot to do with Vader. So I'm not saying that Vader wasn't the most exciting thing, but there are other cool things about the show, man. Let's not be rude.
Yeah.
Okay.
So with this, one thing I can say about this show that I am super appreciative of is Force abilities being shown. When you allowed Vader to be Vader, it was phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
So when I have to say this, so my best friend was just in town this past weekend. Um, Liddy's godfather, 20 years of friends. That like my nigga. So he finally caught up, and the entire time he was looking at me. He's like, Nick, Vader has a grudge with people that have the higher ground. So when he said, when Vader had a moment when he literally pulled a ship down, he screamed. He said, "No more higher ground, bitch! Come here and
Right, no
open
more
this
locked
damn
doors."
door." That showed the ability of Vader.
Yeah.
Because if you know anything about Star Wars, you know that Anakin Skywalker was born of this Force. He showed his abilities. He was like, I have thoughts about his face. But
Ooh. We'll get into that. We'll get into that.
so I enjoy the fact that his force abilities were shown and wasn't hindered, and they showed good lightsaber combat. I enjoyed all of that. I was super excited for it. And then the second fight that they had, because Vader watched Obi Wan first go around, he was like, "Nah, nigga, get out of my way. You ain't it no more. I'm him." The second fight, we were able to see who Obi Wan is and why he's one of the top 5 Jedi's of all time. You're facing a man who was born of the Force.
He was born in it, raised in it.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying?
It was beautiful to see. And then if anyone knows, at the end where Vader was sitting at is where one of the most legendary Sith of all time is at. And Vader is there to heal himself. Vader is there for a particular part within the storyline. I can't remember the name. I'll have to ask Pac. But there is a link that I will find and I will share with everyone of the storyline, because I'm telling you, it was delicious. Like, it's Vader's story itself, when it's just Vader, is great. Outside of Luke, like, it's great. And again, it was cool. I enjoyed it. For me, I give it a 7.5, 8. Vader holds a lot of that weight. I enjoyed Obi Wan. Reva, I think is her name. I enjoyed her as well. She was really good. I enjoyed the whole cast. Like, everyone there was really good. I love Kid Layla. I love her.
Yeah, she was pretty dope. I can absolutely say she was one of my favorite characters
easily. I loved her. I'm like, hold off on redoing the first 3 movies. She is Princess Leia. She's the one. Simply because her attitude was her. Like, I'm like, yes.
Yeah, definitely. I would love to kind of get, and it's always kind of sketchy when you kind of get those shows that start around teenagers. But I would love to kind of see something based on like Leia and her like younger days, like leading into the rebellion. Like, because we've gotten one thing, like what's the next thing? Like, this bridges her into like being a part of the rebellion. So like, what's the first event that, you know, I mean, obviously we have like a New Hope and the things that happened there, but there's something else there, because there's like a 10-year gap between what we just got and where the series starts. So Umbrella. This ain't no Umbrella. What's wrong with you, boy?
Oh my goodness! Welcome, D Rain. Thank you for the tier 1 subscription for 16 months. Wait till I get my round of applause and all this. It's yeah. What's up?
Was that Knights of G?
Yeah, Knights of G. What's up? I like that. Knights of G. What clan? What games do you play? Where does this Knights sit at? I need to know. But one thing that I want to see from the Star Wars like shows, like I'm cool on Anakin. If you need any more Anakin Skywalker from anything, you don't watch the first 3 movies. You go watch Clone Wars, and then you shut the hell up.
Yep, and that's what I'm learning now. Clone Wars is really damn good. But I know it seems like we're getting ready to drift into the next topic because we've got so many of them. I do want to take a moment to say, because I seen, I think it was Blerd Approved Gaming mentioned that he loved Vader right up until Vader's mask went off. And that is a fair opinion to have. However, my opinion is actually of the contrary. I've always loved Vader. Vader has always been a badass. He comes, he's there for lollipops and to fuck shit up, and he's usually out of lollipops. But my thing is, Vader has always been this mysterious, dark, beastly figure. And it was probably the most interesting I've ever seen Vader to be in a position of vulnerability. It humanized him where almost like I fear him more because he's gone from this monster that just appreciates chaos to a man with real motivations and fear. And he lashes out and does the things that he does for a reason. And for me, that makes him so much more interesting, like in the main continuity of who Vader is.
Have you finished Clone Wars?
I have not finished it.
Okay.
There's a lot of Clone Wars.
Okay. So with that, your statement is going to change of a beast of chaos, because Anakin, what he said at the end, he said, "You didn't kill Anakin, I did." He was the fear, because the birth of Vader was the fear of losing his woman.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was the birth. And then damn, what was the Sith Lord that Vader that got Vader Blerd Approved can help me out. It's not Sidious. It is Sidious. I'm not, but he's the one that nitpicked at that, because again, the council had its opinions on Anakin at to begin with, and he saw the opportunity and pounced on it. So there's a lot there to unpack. It was definitely said, okay, I'm thinking, okay, thank you, Blerd, for it was Sidious. I knew I wasn't tripping. I was doubting myself and my Star Wars knowledge. Sorry, y'all. Yeah. This is my geek moment. But yeah, Sidious. So Sidious saw that. He took advantage and manipulated that, and you can see it in his eyes. Before we move into topics, I wanted to say I'm cool because we've seen a lot of Jedi stories in the Star Wars, and you know, and how the council and the politics really work. One thing that I want to see is the birth of the power of two of the Sith Order. That will probably be one of the most interesting storylines of all times. I'm
over the Skywalkers.
Everyone's over the Skywalkers. I'm ready to see more Sith. I'm ready to see Revan. Like, I'm ready for the Knights of the Old Republic. I'm ready to. I need it.
Yeah, there's a lot. Like, I was just curious and like doing some research yesterday because I'm new into the Star Wars thing, and you know, and I'm starting to get like heavier and heavier into it, and I'm like doing research yesterday, and I did not realize that per continuity of the comics, kyber crystals, I mean, I know that they are living things, they are tuned into the Force, but ultimately the reason why dark side users have red lightsabers is because the pain, anguish, and all the other malignant vibes that dark side users put off essentially makes the kyber crystal bleed, and any kyber crystal that they use will eventually turn red, even if they started with a lightsaber that was a different color. So most of them just rock out with the red because there's no point. They'll turn any kyber crystal red by default, which I thought was super awesome.
Welcome to
So
the Sith. The more you know.
yeah, definitely the more you know.
But yes. So let's
but definitely Star Wars, like I know you said you gave it a 7.58.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go a little bit higher, and I'm thinking I'm gonna give this a 9 overall. I think if that first episode was a little stronger, I could maybe lobby for a 10 on its best day, but right now I'm definitely going for
you have to finish
for
Clone Wars.
9.
You have to finish.
I'm
Clone
gonna
Wars.
get there. I'm gonna get there.
I know,
but there's
I know.
a lot of Clone Wars. There's like over 100 episodes.
I know, and every episode is worth, because it was the fans that wrote it. Fans of Star Wars wrote this, and they did a phenomenal job.